Spiders. Second down, 9 yards to go. Miles play fakes, now throws incomplete. Joseph on the coverage. And the intended receiver was Matt Davis. This is the defensive front.
Hello, Matt Davis. Welcome.
Hey, Pete. How are you doing?
Dude, so Matt, do you know that? Did you recognize that highlight?
I did not. I don't know which one it was.
So I was trying to find a highlight that I could bring you in with. That was the champion, or I'm sorry, the first round of what we will call now the FCS tournament against Lehigh. Early in the game, Jimmy Miles found you open about 5-6 yards down the field, and the ball just went right off your fingertips. Do you remember that?
I vaguely. What I missed, I guess. If I hit my fingertips, I should have caught it.
We're talking to the Washington, D.C. Touchdown Club Player of the Year in 1994, one of the most sought after soft-handed tight ends in all of college or high school football going into 1995, Matt Davis. Matt, you're coming off the golf course?
Yeah, I played golf today. Not very well, but I did play golf.
How many beers, Matt?
I had about 6 high noons. No beers today, just 6 high noons. It was a beautiful day here in the DC area.
So I wanted to talk to you. By the way, Matt is the best spotter in all of college football, and he's a rookie of the year. It's only been 2 weeks, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Tua Tagovailoa and what you saw last night. First of all, how many concussions do you think, by your estimation, like you had?
I had 4 documented concussions. I probably had closer to 8 or 9 thinking back on it, but 4 documented, 2 in high school and then 2 in college.
How would you – now, when we were back in college, right, we're talking the late 90s, what was the protocol like then?
It was, rub some dirt on it and get back on the field. The worst one I probably had in college was we were playing University of Pennsylvania at Franklin Field, and it was kind of the old turf that you would think of maybe at the vet. It wasn't really the new stuff that you would think of, and I hit my head on the turf and kind of got knocked out for a couple minutes, not a couple minutes, maybe 30 seconds, and I kind of came to and came back onto the sidelines, and they did a quick assessment. The trainers did a quick assessment of what was going on, but I just remember, going quickly back into the game. And after that, after the game was over with, my parents were waiting for me, and they were kind enough to say, "Hey, we got this great Philly cheesesteak for you. We got from this place, whether Geno's or Pat's or whatever. They had brought it and saved it for me to take on the bus." And I just got very, very sick on the way home, throwing up and doing it wasn't a good situation. So that was that time at University of Pennsylvania where I had a bad concussion. But there was a few of them that were really rough, and it was, like I said, rub some dirt on it and get back in the game. And no offense to the training staff, which was great at University of Richmond, and but that's kind of the way it was. If you had your faculty together and you had your senses about you, they throw you right back into the game.
When you see somebody like what happened with Tua last night, like does it kind of take you back like right away? Or you get like a little chill, or just like what does it do to your brain and your memory and stuff?
It does. I mean, more than anything, I always wanted to be a competitor. I always wanted to stay in the game. So I understand that from a competitive level, as far as like, I'm fine, get me back in there. Looking back on it, I probably in certain situations should have been held out of competition because of the magnitude of having a concussion. But at that time, in my time in college and high school, it was, I wanted to force myself. There was no protocol to keep you out. And I know of the multiple concussions I had that, I would have been kept out of games if the protocol was the way it is now.
Yeah. It's kind of like scary because even like, I don't know if you heard this yet, but before right before we started here at I guess it's 2 Eastern for you, but Antonio Pierce, Raiders head coach, was talking to the media. We played it earlier, and he was like, I would tell him to retire. Like, what would you say if this was Michael, your son? Like, what would you say?
Well, the interesting part about Tua's situation is that in watching it, I mean, in knowing what happened 2 years ago, he played a full season and was did not have a documented concussion. So you think he's kind of through that situation, and I don't know how your brain recovers or what the situation is, but I would definitely, given the magnitude of Tua's concussions, I wouldn't allow my son to probably continue to play football based on what I've seen from a spectator Tua has gone through. I mean, they've been really bad. I mean, last night, yes, it's you fear for the guy's health. You fear for the guy's health moving forward because of the magnitude that we've seen on TV of these concussions and what the lasting effects could possibly be. You go into CTE, you go into all that stuff as far as what people have experienced. The immediate thought for me is like somebody like Junior Seau, who has probably had double-digit concussions that were undocumented, and what happened to him in later in his life after football. That's things that I think about from a parent standpoint and from a former athlete standpoint, is that it's not worth what could happen after the fact in continuing to play. Quarterbacks are a different situation because you do get concussions, but when you start to think about fullbacks in professional football and college football, you start to think about linebackers, you start to think about these guys that have violent hits, violent experiences every single down that they're playing, and the small and minor concussions that take place and that are probably undocumented because, like you said, they just continue to play. With somebody like Tua, the significant things that we see on TV are just troubling. And for a person's health, I know he makes millions and millions and millions of dollars, but for a person's health, there's better things to do than to continue to play. So that's my feeling.
I'll tell you what, we should you need to get like 6 high noons in you before you go sell your next house. You're on fire right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Do you remember, Matt? Do you remember? You're around my age. Do you remember the WKRP in Cincinnati?
Absolutely.
When they had Dr. Johnny Fever and they did like the awareness and the reaction time as you drank, they wanted to show it was like a PSA for drinking and driving. And the more that Dr. Johnny Fever drank, the better he got at the reactions.
No, I wish it would help my golf game. We call it swing oil, but it didn't really help me play today. But
Matt, no, hold on. Now, what about any plays? Any plays today you like? We got Arizona and Kansas State tonight. Kansas State laying 7 points. Have you thought about that one?
Yeah, I love Arizona. I love the dog in the play. They're on the up. I mean, I know they're not probably as good as they were last year, but I like Arizona plus the point. I love dogs, Pete.
That's a lot of points.
It is. I mean, it's. I was on the Buffalo Bills last night and the under. The public was all over the over. It was sad to see because I kind of pull for the Dolphins. I got some family members out there that way, and they're big Dolphins fans. And my sister was at the game last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was there with the midgets and my cousin, and they were there. And I was sad to see them. Whether Tua was in there or not, I don't think that they were gonna compete in that game. So. I feel bad also for Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel.
That I think the shine is starting to come off of his persona or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they kind of escaped against Jacksonville, right? And like
they did.
And the Tyreek Hill thing overshadowed it. Like, wasn't this great? This guy figured out a way to get to the end zone and kind of work his way through that personal situation. But yeah, lost in the sauce was they didn't look great, and they certainly looked like crap last night.
And I feel like, defenses are now like, look, if you're going to beat me, it's not going to be Tyreek Hill, so somebody else is going to beat us. So I think they locked down Tyreek pretty well last night, and the other parts just couldn't come together. So, it's tough.
Any NFL play?
Week 2. Week 2. I mean, I'm a homer with the Washington Commanders. I really am a homer, but I like the fact that Jaden Daniels has a game under his belt. And I think that he didn't make any mistakes per se, but I think that, the week 2 coming against the New York Giants, I really do like the Commanders, and it's a homer play. I'll be honest, but I do think that the Washington Commanders really have a shot in this.
God, how many times can you say Washington Commanders? We get it. They changed their name.
I know.
All right, so Washington is favored by.
I thought I have to be proper.
No, dude. Why? When college, you used to say, "I'm hitting the Skins today." When you bet on the Redskins, now all of a sudden you've evolved to the Washington Commanders.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never bet in college, but
so Washington is laying 1.5.
Yeah,
all
love
right.
it. Lock it down.
All right, we got your 2 plays. We got to go. Anything else?
No, love you, Pete.
Man, you did a great job, dude. Love you too, buddy.
I don't know. Looking forward to the next time I get the opportunity to spot for the up and coming best play-by-play guy in ESPN.
All right. Obviously, too many high noons and concussions. We'll talk to you soon, man. Appreciate it.
Love you, Pete. Talk to you.
All right, man. We'll be back. Pete Souza Show on the Rogue Media Network.